start your business. If it's even in you, if you have an itch to start your own business, start that business. Just start it. Start it scared. Get your LLC. Just start it. Don't wait. Just start.
Hey there, Mompreneurs. This is Angela Michelou, your host of the Good Enough Mompreneur Podcast. Thank you for joining me for this week's episode. If you're new, welcome. If you are joining me again for another episode, thank you so much for just being a part of this community. It means so much. I cannot believe the incredible women that I get to have conversations with and connect with because of this podcast, and a true heartfelt thank you to all the people who reach out to me in connection with this podcast. You're just wonderful. This week I am bringing to you an interview with my friend Tyra Andrea, who I met through the travel industry, and she is just so inspiring to me. How she started her business. She is a single mom. She has a young daughter who she just inspires with her entrepreneurial spirit. And I think it's so important to have a number of different women in different situations on this podcast, so whoever is listening can eventually go, that's me, and connect and identify with their story, so it inspires them to continue to take action in their business. Tyra, she's just incredible, and you'll hear her interview shortly, but what I love most about her is she was at a point during the pandemic where she was realizing that the job that she was in, how replaceable she was, and how much she wanted to be doing something else. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs can identify with just having this tap on their shoulder and knowing that they are supposed to be doing something else. Not having it figured out, not really actually knowing a lot about business. I mean, there are so many situations. So one of the amazing things that Tyra stopped and asked herself was, if I only had 5 years left, what would I want to be doing? So her answer to that would be traveling. She no longer wanted to have to ask permission. She no longer wanted to have to work around somebody else's schedule. She wanted to go out there and just have that lifestyle for herself and create it for herself. And that is exactly what she has done. So I hope that you are as inspired by Tyra as I am. So without further ado, here is my interview with Tyra Andrea of Mommy and We Travels. Welcome, Tyra. Today we have Tyra Andrea of Mommy and We Travels. And I'm so excited you're here. I've said it before, I adore you. And we have such a kinship as lovers of travel.
Yes, I love it.
Travel, we're both travel entrepreneurs. And I just, I knew that I wanted to have you on my podcast so you can share your inspiring story. So welcome and thank you for taking time out today. You just got back from like a world tour.
Oh my gosh. Listen, it's such an amazing, it's so amazing to always be on your podcast, Angela. You hold a special place in my heart. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast again. But yes, we just got back from 2 months, almost 2 months, 57 days.
Oh my gosh.
And oh my gosh, I'm tired, girl. I just want to sleep. Like jet lag is real. I've never experienced jet lag before, but I do now. Like I've been home for 4 days, and I'm just like, I just want
Where am I?
Yeah. But out of all of the places I've stayed, there's nothing like being home in your bed, in your comfy space. There's nothing like it. So, I love travel. We all love travel. Yeah, that is our special bond. Travel.
It is. Yeah. I was thinking about this. So what started your love of travel? Like,
you know what? I don't even know when it began, to tell you the truth, because when we were young, we didn't really travel. We didn't travel. So
me neither. Maybe that was it.
Yeah. I remember in 2000, we went to Haiti to visit, some of my mom's husband's, family, but we never really traveled. And I don't know at what point did travel trigger in my brain that I wanted to travel a lot. But when I started working as a scientist, I do remember working really hard to save my money to go on vacation. And that's just what I used to do. Like, I wanted to travel. Right. I can't even put a link to it,
That's funny.
So when at what point did I always want to travel? I don't know. It's right. I've always traveled as an adult.
That's so funny. Well, I know you have been to Dubai 3 times recently. Yes. So what would you say is your favorite destination? Just so we can give people a flavor of where you like to travel.
I cannot name it, but Bali is definitely, I'm going back to Bali. Well, we're going back next year, but I love Bali. Like, Bali is so chill, the ambiance. Like,
really?
Yes, the people, you can tell they want you to be there. And that makes a huge difference. So
yes.
I like Bali. I really do. I've been to a lot of different places, but everybody keeps asking me that same question. It's like, I haven't found that one place yet, but I do plan on doing some world travels and just chilling somewhere for a few months at a time. But I can tell you, we're going back to Bali. So I haven't found that one place that completely just like makes me cry. Like, oh my gosh, I love it here so much. I love Bali. So right now, Bali's like at the top of the list.
Right. Oh, you haven't been to Castaway Cay yet.
No, not yet. It's on the list. I gotta find time to
I know. I gotta get you there because I mean, I don't know. Hawaii isn't a place for me like that. It's just so zen. It's so it's Love wonderful. Oh, and you just came back from Hawaii too.
Yes, we did a trip in Hawaii, and Hawaii is beautiful. Hawaii's expensive, but Hawaii is absolutely beautiful. Yeah. Everything's imported in Hawaii, so it has to be expensive, but Hawaii is amazing.
Right. Yeah. Well, why don't you tell our listeners about your adorable company? I love it. I mean, I just love the focus of it. So why don't you tell our listeners about your business?
Okay, so my business is Mommy and We Travels. And what we do is we do hosted group trips. And so it's just women and children that go on our group trips. And so we go all over the world. And it's literally just women and children because, women feel comfortable around other women. And so on most of the group trips, we'll have like a mom's day. So the spa days are already prepaid for through the group trip. The moms go off on a spa day and they leave the kids with me or me and my staff. And, they just have their day, when they're on the trips. If they need, some time, they just bring me the kid, bring me the kid,
Girl, you're killing it.
I'm trying.
Killing it. You are. In case you needed a sign. I mean, I saw you did that and you included like the daycare and the spa day. And I was like, oh my goodness, that's awesome. That's awesome. Try.
And then we also, Mommy and We Travels also operates as a host agency. So currently we have about 50 travel agents that are with us. They report directly to us, and I train people on how to come into the travel industry and do the same exact thing that we're doing because, everybody has their different thing that they want to focus on. We have nurses, we have police officers, we have, people that are in the medical field that want to do like retreats and stuff. So we show them how to do that. And those two are my biggest passions when it comes to my travel agency.
It's so good. It's so good. I mean, you just you fill my bucket, you inspire me, and you do. I just feel like you just make me feel like, I can do this and that. And,
it's a lot. It's a lot.
Hey, you can't be scared. A lot of people are scared of that.
No, I mean, it's a lot of work. Any place you go, any place you go, it's going to be a lot of work, but there's nothing like working for yourself.
Right. Nothing exactly. Right. And And that's another thing that I think is really amazing is how you're a single mom and you're doing this and you have a young daughter who you're inspiring. So I think that's an obvious opportunity to say, no, this is too much. So I like to talk about the limiting beliefs that you might have had, because it's great to see somebody doing successful things, but that also intimidates people like, oh, that's just for her, or she had somebody in the industry who helped her out, or, find all of these things that this success applies to you, but not them. No. And right. So can you talk about some of the fears that you had and how you overcame them?
Well, I guess one of the first things is like, I don't know how to do it. If you don't know how to do it, we talked about it before, jump on YouTube how to do it. You have to believe in yourself. And so I think one of the biggest things is stop worrying about how. I used to say, how am I going to do this? What if I don't make enough money? What if this? I stopped worrying about a lot of that stuff. And I started putting it in a higher power's hand. I don't worry about money anymore. I travel the world. The bills are paid. The travels are paid for. And so, and I position myself too. I will say that I position myself very well. I got out of debt. That's one of the biggest things. So I'm not sure if you guys believe in Dave Ramsey. I use, some of his principles to help me get out of debt, but that was huge when it came to me just stepping out and being able to do what I wanted to do and needed to do for my business. Money is a big issue for a lot of people, but if you're out of debt, there's a lot of different ways that you can move. So that was one of my biggest fears, worrying about, the money part of it. But I started saving. I saved 6 months of, expenses. And, eventually, I was a supervisor and a clinical laboratory scientist. And then COVID hit really, really hard. And so I had my travel business even before COVID, but I really wasn't taking it serious. And it really took, the pandemic to show me, you can die like tomorrow. And so it really clicked in my head. And so we talked about this on the last podcast. I just sat down and asked myself, if I had 5 years left to live, what would I want to do? And I said it was traveling. And so I did the switch. I already had the money saved up. I just had to take myself and my business serious. We have so many things that we have going on, but it's like, are you really happy? The money was good. I was on track. I was almost at 6 figures, but the money was good, but I wasn't like 100% happy. Like money didn't make me as happy as traveling did. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to travel. Like, I can make money traveling, I can, completely live my life, while traveling. It's like, I'm not going to wait until retirement to start traveling and start living my life, because I clearly may not make it. So many people don't make it to retirement. It's like, you know what? I'm going to live my life and live it properly, live it the right way, treat people right, just live it how it's supposed to be lived, and do what it is that I want. So that's the biggest thing that I can say. Get out of debt. If you're in debt, figure out a way to get out of debt. People, say, oh, I can't do that. Well, guess what, honey? That Starbucks that you drink every day, that's $5. 5 times 5 is 25, and then keep on going. And that all of that adds up. So there are ways to get out of debt. Stop buying stuff that you don't need. People, are trying to keep up with the Joneses. Listen, honey, I've traveled for 57 days, clear across the world. Complete, almost a world tour. And I can afford the bags, the cars. I don't want it. I don't want it. I would much rather travel with my money. So, the truth.
Yeah.
So, everybody's different. Everybody has their different vices, so, I guess if you can't afford it, don't be buying it. Don't buy it, leave it alone, and just get out of debt. So, that was one of my biggest things, how would I do it? And just, I guess, believing in myself. We spend more time at work than we do at home with our family. So at least whatever you do, love what you do, because if you don't, listen, you're in a lot of trouble, because
I think a lot of people just accept it. Like it's supposed to be miserable and it's supposed to be difficult. And, it's not a serious job if you're having fun. Like that's, you're not, I mean, you are in a position now where you're helping other people pursue their dreams. You're
Absolutely.
giving other people an opportunity to start their own business under your umbrella to do multiple things. And so in the little safety zone of what that is an illusion that your job is secure and you have a paycheck. I mean, you're not impacting anyone, right?
Yeah. You're disposable.
Yeah.
And people need to realize that. And, you know, it's like always, if you're going to have a job, you know, and I'm not saying not have a job, like my new travel agents that come on, this is not a get rich quick scheme. Like this is something that you're going to have to build on. You're going to have to build a brand presence. Like they know this is not a get rich quick scheme. Have your job, still work your travel business. Like people need to see that you're out there and you're real, you know, but while you working the job that you may like or may love or have something that you truly love on the side, because that's what matters, you know, doing something that you truly love. Like what's the old saying? Find what you love doing and find somebody to pay you for it.
Right.
That's the best advice.
Well, it sounds like you really just took a moment where you assessed your situation financially, professionally, and then you assessed also what you wanted to learn.
Absolutely.
And needed to learn to grow. But then in that moment, you started to take yourself and your dreams seriously.
Yes. But I will say this, and I try to tell my niece this all the time. She wants to do what I do. But I try to tell her all the time, listen, you know, travel is my business as well, but I have a career. I have a career. I have all of the credentials. Don't just, you know, I always have something solid that somebody cannot take away from you. If you're educated, you have that. If you have a technical certificate, you have that. But, you know, if you want to be an entrepreneur, start being an entrepreneur while you're working on that job. You know, don't just quit, you know, because if you just quit and just say, oh, I'm going to figure it out. No, that's like a recipe for a disaster. Like you have to kind of plan it out, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think people go the other route too, where they get the education and they check all the boxes and they expect that to make them happy.
And that's what I did too. And I believe that's what you did too.
Yeah. Guilty.
We both went. I went all the way to the top. Angela went all the way to the top. Like, I have my master's degree. I was a supervisor.
Yeah, both of us.
Making six figures, but it's all about happiness. You know, yes, I still love being a scientist, you know. You know, as a matter of fact, you know, on Sundays, if I'm not traveling, I'll go work at the hospital because there's certain things that I still need to learn to keep my credentials in order with the state. You know, we have, you know, license. I have a license with the state. There's things that I have to do, but I went all the way to the top just to realize I'm not 1,000% happy. You know, I can die. And if I die, am I really, really living my life the way that I want to? And I wasn't. And that was a big moving factor for me. So I just switched it. Instead of me traveling part-time and doing things that are travel related part-time, no, I'm a scientist part-time and a travel agency owner full-time. So you just really have to look at what you love doing and find a way to do it. And find people to pay you to do it, because listen, it's all kind of people out there. It's all kind of jobs out there. It's all kind of things out there that people will pay you for. Find what you love doing. It's so very important. Like life is so short and nothing is promised tomorrow. Work on what you love doing instead of working all those hours at that job that you hate. Listen, take a little bit of time and do what you love doing. Like people do it all the time. This is normal to people.
I know. And it's absolute. We are the exception. And that's kind of my goal with this podcast is like, if you are staying awake at night, knowing that there is something more, change it, but you have that feeling for a reason. And once you realize the opportunity and all that there is out there, you can't go back to sleep.
No, exactly.
You just can't.
No. Yes, I will. Yeah. Yep.
So I'm just nodding my head for people who can't see this and are just listening. And you and I have so many of the same stories. But what I also love is we're moms to daughters, and
it's important for them to see that.
Right. It is so important. And I really love how you've inspired your daughter. So talk about how you becoming an entrepreneur has affected her, even at her young age.
Yeah, my daughter, she's almost 8. She said she's 7, but she'll tell you I'm 7.5. But her seeing me be an entrepreneur, it really has like launched in her head. Like she wants to be a gymnastic instructor. She wants to own her own studio. And we have different conversations. We do vision boards together. We just do stuff totally different. My daughter, she goes to school and stuff, but she also has her own book series. She's going to be a published author in September. So it's important, so even if she goes off and she wants to, stay in a career and don't want to, be an entrepreneur full time, that's kind of sort of up to her, but she sees how it's done. It's kind of like, if you never saw it done, you wouldn't know how to do it unless you have somebody constantly mentoring you and explaining it to you. So it's, I don't know, like me growing up, I only saw one person in my family make it, it was my uncle. And he, went off to the military. He got a career. He, did everything. Meanwhile, like literally 90 something % of my family, like they don't want it. Like they want to drink, they want to smoke, they want to do all that stuff. And it's like, I don't want that life. I want that life. And so I decided to follow my uncle. I went to school, I got my degrees, I became a scientist. And now, my niece and my nephews are looking at me do this. My daughter, is looking at me do this. And, it's up to them. They see what can be done. And I want to show them that literally anything is possible. And it's really up to them how they decide to move in life. And so it's important for me to do things right, so that they can see it,
Right. I mean, and so many people just accept what they think society, everybody's got their struggles. They just accept their society, what they feel that their place is or their future is, or their family. Like, oh, I didn't grow up in a family that did. Neither did I.
Exactly.
It's just, I don't know if you've heard the idea of expander parenting, where so many parents go through life trying to just give and give to their kids opportunities. But they have discovered that actually you as a parent working on your fullest self-expression shows your children what is truly possible. It's not just about giving opportunity to them, but actually demonstrating it. And I think that it is, so true that, it just impacts the impact that it's not just you. We have a tendency to just be in our own minds when we're starting a business. And so in those early days, I'm sure that you had, a million things that could have held you back. But what do you think at this point was like, when was it where you're like, I'm on to something? Like, when did you start to begin to gain some traction?
Girl, when my bills started getting paid.
Right? Yeah, I know that.
Started getting paid through the travel industry. When I started focusing more on my travel business and my bills started to get paid, and I got more people that wanted to be travel agents, under my umbrella. I'm just like, okay, this is really going somewhere, but
and I think that it's because you got focused.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's like, people are like, well, this isn't happening or that isn't happening. And it's like, if you really assess what you're focusing on, and you might have thought it was a good idea at first, but you constantly have to reevaluate and be in beta mode. And okay, this is working and this is not working. And essentially kind of pull the levers in your business, because people wait. I mean, I call this the Good Enough Mompreneur Podcast because people expect that they have to be perfect.
No.
They have to have it all figured out first before they can begin. They tell themselves all of these things. And so I love bringing these, none of us are perfect, right? We tell ourselves, especially in the age of social media, that everybody else is better than us, and we get caught up in the comparison game. So what are some of the things that you do? I'm sure you still have days where you're like, oh man, this didn't work out, or this is tough. How is it that you keep your head in the game still?
you just got to keep going. Like, I do a lot of stuff. Like, I have a blog, I got a podcast, I do the hosted group trips. I do my travel agents. I have to mentor them, be in meetings all day. I take a day off, like on Wednesdays, I don't really do anything. And that was really, really hard. And, I had to learn to push my schedule back to 12 o'clock. Like, my day does not start until 12 o'clock, because if I'm not right, ain't nothing right. So, I had a really, really hard time with that too, pushing my schedule to 12 o'clock, because I would get up and start my meetings at 10 o'clock in the morning and go from like 10 to 5, go pick my daughter up from school, and just, I just had to really focus on me. What, if I'm not well, nothing is well. So just, I guess, really focusing on what's important, focusing on what's important and what needs to be done. So, I have so many different branches in my travel agency. It's so many, so much. I got people trying to book travel with me doing the hosted group trips. Like I say, I have to mentor my agents. It's so many, everything. There's a lot. And so at some point, I'm like, okay, what do I need to focus on? I need to maybe cut back on this a little bit and focus more on this. And so you just kind of have to reevaluate things, set it, to every week, every 2 weeks. It's really up to you, but kind of have to reevaluate things and see what you can sit back on. And I mean, I haven't did a blog in maybe a month or two, but it's okay. It's okay. I'll get back to it, and it's going to be amazing. They have some stuff to read. If they're done reading the blog, they can go look around my website some more. Or if they want to talk, they can call me and we can talk. But, just some stuff you just have to just fall back on until it's time to go full force with it again, because I'm not a robot. I'm a whole human running a whole empire at this point.
Right. Yep. And I think that that's a really great lesson. Even if you didn't think about it consciously, it's like, if you just keep taking little actions, like you won't even have time. To
say I can't.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, I think people just hold on to, well, what if this and what if that? It's like, just keep going. And before you know it, you will be able to turn around and look back and see all the accomplishments. And I was in the same spot this summer where it was like, okay, we need to look at our schedule and really evaluate, because like you, I'm not just a business owner. I'm also a parent, where I'm scheduling other people's lives. And it's like, okay, hold on. And that's like, we don't always have it all figured out. It seems that way, and we work our best, but I think it's just keeping in mind, just keep going, but always be open to trying to be better. And it just works miracles if you just give yourself grace, like you said, and just keep going. But I think that is just so fundamental. So let me see, like, I'll edit this out, but I was like gonna look at my other questions that I have here. But
or another thing that I want to mention,
sure,
do stuff when the kids are asleep. I know as soon as those kids wake up, your mind is somewhere else, because they're like, no, get up early. Get up. If you know your kids wake up at 8 o'clock, get up at 6 o'clock or 7. And I know it may seem like, it's too much, but guess what? It's for you. It's for you. It's for your future. You need the time to be at peace. Are you're meditating in the morning? Are you reading your Bible in the morning? What is it that gets you going? And if you don't do it, you're not in a good space. Do it early in the morning. Or guess what? Do it late at night when the kids go to sleep. You need some time to yourself. I will mention that for the moms, because that's important too. Our days are so super crazy with the kids and cooking dinner, and sometimes by the end of the day you may be too tired. So get up early. Get
definitely assess your schedule for sure, and where you have time to work on it, even if it's, you don't need, I think we obviously overcomplicate, and we also overestimate how much time something is going to take and how much effort. It's like, even when I look at a counter of dishes, I'm like, oh gosh, I don't want to do that. But if I start in on them and it's like, wow, that only took 10 minutes. Okay.
Right.
Or just do things for 10 minutes or, whatever. One of the other things that I think is really important to talk about for mompreneurs is what happens with your relationships with your family and with your friends.
Listen,
because the people who got you to where you were are not always going to be the people that are going to stay with you to where you're going to keep going and growing.
No, a lot of times they are afraid to see you leave their circle.
Right.
Like, oh, she thinks she's better than me, or no, I don't want to stay with you. Like, I want to go higher. I don't want to stay in this place. So, a lot of times you'll think your family and your friends will be the ones that support your business. No. A lot of times it's not a lot of times, majority of the time, it's strangers. That strangers are your biggest supporters.
Absolutely.
So I'm telling you now, don't sit up and wait for your family and your friends to support your business. Listen, no. You got social media. Use your social media.
Right.
Strangers will be your best friends. You may lose family members. Like, some people are in your life for a reason, season, or lifetime. And I know that they're family and their blood, but everybody's not happy. Everybody doesn't want to see you excel. And that's sad that some people want to see you stay. Like, my family, I want to see everybody grow with me, but everybody doesn't want the same things. They may think that I think that I'm special. No, it's not that. I don't want what you want in life. I want better for myself, better for my child, and better for the little kids that are coming, behind me. And it'll probably be the same thing for you guys, but you may lose some family members on the road to what you perceive as success. Whatever that is. Everybody's not happy for you. They'll try to talk you out of your dreams. Don't listen to them. Keep going. It's your dream. It's not theirs. They can't make your dream. It's your dream. So don't listen to them. Keep going. Right. What you think, Angela?
1,000%. And I was I'm a sensitive person. I think so. I tend to be that person who thinks the best in people. Yep. And so I have really had to learn boundaries. I've really had to learn it's okay if somebody is just where they're at. It's not my job to fix anybody. It's not, it's you have to keep your energy for yourself, and that's okay. And especially as women, we're taught to be nice. We're taught we're caretakers. And I don't think you have to let go of the nice, but you really just can't. You have to be focused on your goals and you just have to keep going. And it's no offense, but I'm going somewhere else that, I don't, let me know if something changes, but I just have a different trajectory. That's not a statement on you. It's not a reflection on you. I'm just got this other path. Yeah. And I think so many people allow that to hold them back. And, you just can't. And it's one thing I think a lot of people don't talk about.
No, that needs to be talked about because when I tell girl, it's so crazy. Like, I remember when I was just a scientist and I got, I left a big company to go to one of their competitors to be a supervisor. I lost friends there. And so, my circle just got smaller and smaller. So as a supervisor, when they found out that I was leaving, from being a supervisor to start my own travel agency, to launch and, really taking things off the ground, I lost even more friends. They're like, you were going, full time with their travel agency during the pandemic. They thought I was crazy, but it's like, they're calling me, how are you doing? How do you do this? And like, people won't believe in you as much as you believe in you, but you're going to lose some friends and some family along the way. So just keep going.
Yeah. And I don't think that you can keep the same people around you that got you to where you were. It's just, you're going to meet new and better and greater people. I mean, I never would have met you had I not, taken, I mean, I've met so many incredible women through this podcast and in travel. And it's just like, sometimes I think just like, what if I had just allowed myself to stay in my limitations, and listen
be miserable.
Right. I mean, and that's the default, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it really is.
I mean, it's incredible. Can you even begin to it's a scary thought, but don't stay there. What would your life be like had you not taken the steps to create and start this new business?
Girl, I'll still be a supervisor and working 12 hours a day and listen to them talk crap. It'll be just ridiculous. I still love being a scientist, but
right.
It wasn't not at that company. Maybe if I was at a different company, but I don't know. Right. I've traveled so many places. I'm literally living my life. I couldn't imagine, only doing the 1 day, the 2 vacations out of the year. I remember a specific moment when I realized I didn't care. We were having a meeting, something crazy was going on in the lab, and my trip to Paris was already scheduled. It was in a week. Yeah. And so the lab director, he was like, well, we were having a meeting, and he was like, well, we got this going on and this going on, and Tyra, you're going on vacation. In my head, I was like, I don't care about that. Y'all got all these people here.
Right.
I don't care. I'm still going to Paris,
Right.
So at that point, I realized I love traveling more. That was the point. That
you valued yourself, exactly. So many people would then,
and they expected me to change. They expected me to,
right.
Well, let me put Paris on the back burner and stay here. No, I'll see y'all when I get back, and y'all will be okay.
And that's it. I mean, I had a huge. And one of my big limitations is I convinced myself that if I no longer worked in the legal industry the way that I was, even though I was a business owner and wanted to do something different, that the firms that I worked for, the companies that I worked for would fall apart without me. I mean, it was just what?
They don't care about you that much.
Right?
I mean, more about the company than we do about ourselves.
But I mean, that is a thought, check yourself. What is it that you're thinking that benefits them more than you?
Yeah.
And then for me with that job transition, I didn't work in the travel industry at all. I had even laughed at people who suggested I should be a travel planner because I myself didn't think that was a serious job. What?
$8 trillion industry.
Right. And then, so did you have any issues with an identity crisis when you went from transitioned to primarily travel?
No, I wouldn't necessarily say an identity crisis. I just knew I wanted to travel more than I wanted to be a scientist. Every now, not more, but I remember every now and then I used to question myself. Should I go back? Because they kept calling me.
Right.
They kept calling me.
Oh yes, I get those calls too.
And I'm like, no. Literally just this weekend I was signing.
Yeah.
We had an inspection from the state, and I'm signing. I went in to make sure all my paperwork and stuff was signed. And literally this weekend. She was like, we don't have any supervisors, have you thought about it? For a quick second in my head, I'm like, no, I'm not ready. No.
Yes.
So people are trying to trick you and convince you to go back. Don't go back. No. Why would I? Why?
Right.
Why? No, I'm not doing that. I'm fine. I'm comfortable. I mean, no. Yeah. I just love doing what I want to do more. So, stuff will happen and people will ask you crazy questions like that. And it'll make you ask yourself questions. And then you got to kind of check yourself. No, this is not what we're doing. Hey, we're doing this. You stay over here. And so,
right.
I would say an identity crisis, but sometimes, people ask you crazy stuff. We'll pay you this amount to make you think. No, no, the money's good, but what about the other stuff that comes along with, making all of that money? Nah, I lose what I'm doing right now. I'm kind of I'm doing what I want to do. And then I would be living how you want me to live. I mean, I kind of have it pretty good right about now, for my schedule as a scientist, I work 1 day out of the week, I have to work a minimum of 1 day a month, if I'm traveling, if I'm on tour, I'm not on the schedule to work. So
yeah,
I don't know. I'm just not ready. You know, I feel like I can do my travel business for 20 plus 30 years and I still have all of the credentials to go all the way back up to the ladder, be a whole lab director.
Whatever.
But
if you lose your mind.
Exactly. But that's just not where I'm at right now. Like I'm living my life.
Right.
That's what's important because nothing is promised tomorrow.
Nope. So if there was one thing that you could say to a mom listening to this and is on the fence on whether they should start their business or give them a nugget to hang on to just like throw them one of those, lifesavers we see on the cruises we go on.
I'll say do it. It's going to be scary, but do it. There's nothing like your own. You may think that this company loves you. They do, love you to a certain extent, but you're irresponsible. Yeah.
Right. And those terms can change at any time.
Exactly. You have to do you. Start your business. If it's even in you, if you have an itch to start your own business, start that business. Just start it. Start it scared. Get your LLC. Just start it. Don't wait. Start.
Mm-hmm. No.
One step at a time. You don't eat an elephant whole. You bite it. Piece by piece.
Right. So, Tyra, where can people connect with you? Where can they see what you do if they are interested in starting in the travel business, or they want to see some of your group trips, all the things? Where do they find you?
Every single thing is on my website, mommyandwetravels.com. So that's M-O. Can they see my name? The name that's on Zoom?
Yeah. But on the podcast they will.
You're right.
The audio recording.
So mommy MOMMYANDWEE travels with an S.com. Every single thing is there. The podcast is there. Travelpreneur Dreams Agent Academy is there. Literally everything about me and my company is there.
And on Instagram, Facebook,
yes.
I highly recommend you follow her just for her adorable pictures and all of the exciting things you're doing. I love it. It just I love it.
Thank you. Yeah. We're on Instagram, Facebook, we're everywhere. Mommy and We Travels. And WEE Travels.
Right. Yes. Yeah. I love that. Thank you, Tyra. I think the whole education for people to digest right here. And I'm sure that there were many takeaways in this interview. So thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you so much for having me, Angela. Ladies, remember, you can do it. There's a saying, you can, when you're little, you can do it, be anything that you want to do. It's still true.
Even it's not just for t-shirts. I think honestly, I almost hate those t-shirts because it's made it so ubiquitous in that people don't believe in it. They think, oh, that's just for a sign or a shirt. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's real.
Yeah, it's true. You can do it,
Yeah. I mean, you're going to have to get through a lot of demons maybe to get there, but it's so worth it.
Absolutely. A better life is on the other side. I promise.
It is. Thank you, Tyra, so much.
Thank you, Angela. I look forward to our next podcast.
Absolutely. Yes, always. If there is any takeaway from my conversation with Tyra, it is just go do it. Keep yourself busy. Keep taking action. Many, many thanks to Tyra for taking the time. She's so busy. She's a mom. And yet she, too, understands the importance of sharing her story and inspiring other women. So I hope that you found this interview inspiring. And if you did, I would be so grateful if you would leave a review on Apple Podcasts. If you scroll to the bottom once you search this show, you can tap to rate the show. And you can also leave a written review, and I will give you a shout out on the next episode. And also, please share this episode with anyone that you think might find it helpful and inspiring. You can find Tyra at Mommy and We Travels, and I will leave her contact information in the show notes. And then you can connect with me, Angela Mishuli, the host of the Good Enough Mompreneur Podcast, at angela.mashulli, MASCIULLI, on Instagram. send me a direct message if you would like to be featured on the show, if you found the show inspiring. I love to hear it all. I'm also going to leave a link down below. Recently, I've been analyzing my schedule and trying to use my time better in my business. And at the same time, I connected with a really amazing entrepreneur, mompreneur, who helps mompreneurs manage their time better and helps them deal with all the things connected with that, which she and I are going to talk about in next week's episode. So if you don't want to miss that episode, make sure you follow wherever you listen to podcasts. So thank you again for joining me this week. It means so much. I hope you have an incredible weekend, and I will talk to you again on my next episode next week. Wait, I almost forgot. I got so wrapped up in talking about my interview next week that I forgot to mention that I left a link below in the show notes for my Aligned Mompreneur workbook. It's free. It comes with prompts for you to analyze your goals, and it also comes with a really handy time audit that I use myself to try to be more productive. And when you're more productive and you're in alignment with your time and your goals, you actually find more success and more happiness in your business. So I think that's something that anybody would benefit from. So if you're like me and you're constantly working to use your time better and juggle it all as a mom and an entrepreneur, download the free workbook. Thanks so much. Talk to you next week. Bye.